Today we'll be taking a look into Nintendo's ever-popular pink puffball, Kirby. Perhaps thanks to his simplistic design, Kirby has won the world over, having released more than 20 games that have gone on to sell over 34 million copies worldwide. However, did you know that the Kirby series has undergone numerous changes between regions? By far the most well known are the differences between the covers of the Japanese and North American versions of the Kirby games. This has even earned itself its own TV tropes page titled American Kirby is Hardcore, as the packaging for the American releases often changes Kirby's happy and carefree expression seen on the original Japanese covers to one that is angry. Nintendo of America's notorious advertisement for Kirby's Avalanche and Kirby's Dream Course from 1995, featuring a mugshot of a scowling, bandaged Kirby with gritty stubble, is often cited as the beginning of Kirby's hardcore American trend. But Nintendo of America's attempts to make Kirby seem tougher date back as early as his very first games. In a 1992 commercial for Kirby's Dream Land, Kirby is compared to dashing super guy, who may have been beaten in strength, but the narrator instead touts that Kirby's appetite makes up for it, as it has a mean bite.
In glorious Dreamland, he's Kirby, and he packs a mean bite. Kirby's Dreamland only on Game Boy.
Compare this to the Japanese commercial for Kirby's Dream Land released the very same year, which alternatively features a young boy happily singing whilst drawing Kirby. The 1993 American commercial for Kirby's Adventure took this a step further, with Kirby pulling off a number of cool stunts before stating, "Kirby, he's cute till you cross him, then he's one tough cream puff."
Level by nightmarish level. That's Kirby. He's cute. Till you cross him, then he's one tough cream puff. Kirby's Adventure.
Nonetheless, an angry Kirby will not be seen on the cover for any of his games in the West until 2002, with the release of Kirby's Nightmare in Dreamland. While it is true that the majority of Kirby games since then, including Kirby Air Ride, Kirby Canvas Curse, and Kirby's Return to Dreamland continued this trend, a few games such as Kirby Superstar Ultra did not, instead sharing cover art nearly identical to the original Japanese release. After years of speculation, Shinya Kumazaki, the director of Kirby Triple Deluxe, commented on this in an interview with GameSpot. To quote, "For the Japanese versions, we are at HAL involved in everything throughout development, including the package design. The most powerful image of Kirby is that cute image. We think that's the one that appeals to the widest audience." He goes on to explain that for his home country of Japan, Kirby's cuteness is his biggest draw. However, things are seen differently in North America. Kumazaki mentions that Nintendo of America calls the shots in the US and provides HAL with feedback and insight into the market. He goes on to state, "What we have heard is that strong, tough Kirby that's really battling hard is a more appealing sign of Kirby, so that's what we feature in the US. The director explains that it depends on the title though, as some of the more recent Kirby games features a tough Kirby even on the Japanese box art, pointing towards his own game. Released in 2014, Kirby Triple Deluxe was the first Kirby title to have an angry Kirby on the cover art across all regions. Also note the removal of the cannon-like enemy from the North American cover, which remained intact in every other region. This was possibly done to bring it in line with the ESRB's principles and guidelines for responsible advertising practices, which prohibits graphic and or excessive depictions of violence from video game advertising, including guns, weapons being pointed towards the reader and audience. Triple Deluxe's direct sequel, Kirby Planet Robobots from 2016, as well as 2017's Kirby Battle Royale, have since followed suit, containing an angry Kirby on the box art throughout every region. Speaking of the Kirby covers in other regions, since 2002 the box art for the European releases of the Kirby games have gone back and forth between using the angrier North American art as seen with Kirby Canvas Curse or Kirby Power Paintbrush as this is known in Europe in 2005, or using the happier original Japanese art such as with Kirby's Return to Dreamland or Kirby Adventure Wii as it's called in Europe in 2011. But packaging art hasn't been the only thing that has changed on Kirby's travels overseas. For instance, even the art within the games themselves have been modified, such as in 1997's Kirby Star Slackers. In the original Japanese version of the game, Kirby can be seen humorously sobbing tears of joy on the Versus Mode result screen, whereas in the international releases, Kirby's expression was noticeably toned down. Another example can be seen with the normal mode's round clear screen, where Kirby and his animal pal Rick enjoy a picnic together. The Japanese game sees Rick enjoying some onigiri or rice balls, while Kirby holds Hanami Dango, a sweet treat traditionally consisting of 3 rice dumplings coloured pink, white and green, skewered on a stick overhead with what seems to be a thermos at his feet. As was typical of the era, the international releases replaced these ethnic Japanese foods with ones that could be more easily recognisable to Western audiences. As you can see, Rick now holds an apple with a box of sandwiches at his feet, while Kirby holds up a s'more on a stick and the thermos has vanished. For whatever reason though, the deviations didn't end there, as Kirby's pose has changed, Rick's eye is now closed, and butterflies flutter overhead too. Japanese foods have been taken out of a number of other Kirby titles, including 2000's Kirby 64 The Crystal Shards, where onigiri was once again replaced with sandwiches in the international releases. Curiously though, Waddle Dee can still be seen chowing down on some onigiri in the picnic bonus round at the end of every stage in every version of the game. 1996's Kirby Superstar took this even further. Due to the gourmet race subgame, Kirby Superstar contains a great number of food items for Kirby to devour. 12 of the distinctively Japanese foods were once again changed to Western meals such as hot dogs, pancakes and fries. Another interesting regional change from Kirby Superstar can be seen on the tutorial screen upon choosing a subgame. In the Japanese edition, 2 vertical slices of a yellow and green V-shaped emblem fly in from opposite sides of the screen and slam together over text asking the player if this is the first time they've played the subgame before. This emblem is officially known in Japan as the Shoshin Yutensha Yoshiki, or the beginner's driver's sign, but is more commonly called a Shoshinsha or Wakaba mark. New drivers in Japan must display this mark on their vehicle for a year after receiving their license, but may choose to leave it on thereafter should they desire. While this emblem has become synonymous with novices in Japan, it will go over the heads of most players elsewhere, thus it was simply changed to 2 slices of a smiling Kirby coming together outside of Japan. A similar change could be seen in Kirby Triple Deluxe as well. During the tutorial of the Japanese version of the game, players will receive a red circle upon successfully completing a task. This is known as a Marasarushi in Japan, and it is used as an affirmation for something that is correct. This is especially common on graded schoolwork, for example. The Marasarushi was replaced in the international releases with its Western equivalent, a checkmark. The checkmark was also recolored green, probably since green is seen as more of a positive colour in many Western countries. In 1995, Kirby's Dream Land 2 had another reference that was cut for Western audiences. In the game there are rooms where Kirby can free either Rick the hamster, Q the owl or Kine the sunfish, but should Kirby try to enter one of these rooms, while already riding one of his animal friends, he will usually find Gooey instead. However, there's a very small chance that players will find a girl named Chao in Gooey's place in the Japanese version of the game. Chao is the heroine of the 1989 Famicom Disk System game Yuyuki. As the Disk System add-on was never released outside of Japan, this adventure game, loosely based on the classic Chinese novel Journey to the West, was never released overseas. Again, as this reference will be missed by most Western players, the international version of Kirby's Dream Land 2 replaced Chao with a female version of Gooey. This also forced the developers to revise the sound test and boss endurance clear screens as well. Interestingly, the sound test screen in itself is yet another reference to a scene from Yuyuki. It's especially odd then that Chao did not consequently get cut out of the North American release of Kirby's Dream Land 3 in 1997, and even appeared alongside the star of Yuyuki, Goku. Meanwhile, Kirby's Dream Course will not be so lucky, as the game received numerous cuts on its way to the West. This was likely done to cut down the ROM size, to fit the game onto a cheaper to produce 1MB cartridge compared to the Japanese release, which required a 2MB cartridge. These included missing test courses, debug menus, and the Japanese version's vibrant animated title screen being replaced with a much simpler one. The most significant cut, however, was the animated story cutscene seen after the title screen of the Japanese version of the game. Accordingly, the song that plays over this cutscene was removed as well. Western players on the other hand had to catch the story by reading the instruction manual. The content of the stories are largely the same, except that while the Japanese game's cutscene directly follows Kirby, the North American manual is primarily written from the perspective of the inhabitants of Dreamland. Also, in the Japanese cutscene, Kirby directly catches King Dedede in the act of stealing a star from the sky and gives chase, whereas in the North American manual, the inhabitants of Dreamland simply suspect that King Dedede is behind the disappearance of the stars, causing Kirby to set off and deal with King Dedede. We've just scratched the surface of the changes throughout the Kirby series lifetime, but that's all we have time for today. If you'd like to see more, then please consider leaving a comment below and hitting that subscribe button, and until next time, thank you for watching.